What's up, beautiful people? It's your boy Judeo, and I'm back again with another Jordan Peterson or Jordan B. Peterson video. This one is titled A Change of Heart Towards Jordan, Africa Brooke, Mikhaila Peterson podcast episode or number 120. This is going to be my first time checking out this one, but it seems it's going to be interesting. I think I actually saw somebody else react to this, and the conversation in the comment section was pretty good. So I thought, why not check it out? So without wasting your time, let's get to it.
I'd had an experience in relation to you years before where I had made a firm decision that I would never in my life listen to anything this man has to say.
Here we are.
Based on a 3-minute clip, mind you.
Do you remember what it was that I said that was so profoundly irritating? I mean, there's
do,
many. Can you tell me what?
He said there's many.
Can you tell me what that was?
Of course.
Is this Jordan Peterson's daughter? He said Mikhaila Peterson's podcast.
You were talking about the gender pay gap. And this was
gender
was
pay
a
gap
interview. The interview that you had with Kathy Newman, and this was a clip, 3-minute clip. You were talking about the gender pay gap, and you were saying that, paraphrasing here, but that the reason for most women is because most women are agreeable, most women don't negotiate, etc., etc. I believe that was essentially giving people options as to why it could be that there's this thing that exists or doesn't exist. And I didn't even finish the clip. I didn't even finish the 3-minute clip. But based on the things that another out of context clip that I had seen before, and the way that I'd heard you,
then you judged the whole clip because of that.
Spoken of before in the context of the trans conversation that was happening around that time, 2018. Right, exactly. Again, I was watching this clip, and it's almost like I wasn't even listening to what you were saying. I had already decided that I don't like this man.
There was a whole perception in your head.
Has told me that I shouldn't like him. Mm-hmm. So therefore, the decision is made. Why do I even have to finish that video?
Right, of course.
And it was just,
Mm-hmm.
And it was just normal.
Well, we use heuristics like that all the time.
Yes.
It's easy to get caught up in them because, you can't listen to everyone.
Sure.
So you kind of have to make a snap judgment about almost everyone. And the default is you don't listen because there's like 7 billion people. So obviously you're not listening to most of them. So you don't need much of an excuse. And it's really easy for that to get. And I mean, it's not like I haven't experienced that. Like, on my podcast, I invite people on. Abigail Schreier, for example, she wrote, I don't remember the name of her most recent book, but it's a investigation into the downside of the rush to make everything gender fluid, essentially. And I was terrified when I had her on. I mean, I was in rather ill health at irreversible damage. Yeah.
That's the one.
I want to have Andy No on my podcast, but that also makes me nervous too. And, because he's tarred with the fascist brush and then you get, it's guilt by association, and that might have been part of what you were feeling. So, so you think, you need a simplifying heuristic, and part of that is, that most people aren't worth listening to, and he's definitely not worth listening to. And then that can so easily become politicized. And once it is, especially when the political has become religious, it's really, really hard to overcome that.
Yeah. So I was watching I think it was a TED Talk. It was about how humans comprehend, something like that. I'm just paraphrasing. They said humans think or understand better when you categorize. So if you say 1, 2, 3, the next one that comes to your mind is going to be 4. And that also plays in context here. Because if someone says Jordan Peterson is one of the people who are transphobic, then you can categorize everything he says as, should I say conservative, or people who are in the is it the right and the left? I don't know how they call it in America, but you can easily categorize him to be like a bad person or someone who is not playing within the context of what the society sees as normal. Yeah,
it really is.
A lot of the things that the radical left are pointing out are in some sense
radical left. I like when they say that.
And so they have that
sounds
truth
intense
about them. I mean, because we could ask ourselves, given the implicit tendency for human beings to have a pronounced in-group preference, and the potential we have for violence against out-group members, how do we all address our proclivity to damn the foreigner? Okay, that's a really important question.
I feel like I've got a good answer.
Okay,
to that.
let me add the one end to that. And then the next thing is, well, we all have these proclivities. How are they exacerbated by power and privilege? Right? Those are good questions. But as soon as we make it instantly racist, well, then we can't even ask the damn questions properly anymore. So, Mick, sorry.
My joke is over now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I stomped all over your timely joke.
You stomped all over my tiny little joke. I was thinking about that question earlier, though. If everyone has these tendencies, which they certainly do, I've noticed that if I have a guest on my podcast, and I think my audience is fairly open-minded, but then I'll have a guest on that, and they'll hate them. And they'll be like, well, you can't just, even if you don't agree with them, maybe they are wrong.
Let them speak.
You can't just cancel people because they don't agree with you.
You don't have to condone but understand. I learned that from Trevor Noah. You don't have to condone it, but just understand where they're coming from, just so we can live. That's the basis of adaptation. Understand people, understand your society. It doesn't have to be what you want, but understand.
You're doing exactly the same thing that the people you're complaining about.
Well, and also maybe your stupid opinions aren't right. They're probably not right. And are you so sure your life is going so much the way you want it to go, and you're such a bloody paragon of virtue, and the light is shining out every orifice, that everything you think and say is correct, and everyone who disabuses you of your notions is evil? You're really so sure of that, are you? So, you wander around and you think, God, maybe I should listen to this person because I'm such an ignorant bastard and I'm so full of malevolence, and maybe they'll drop one thing on me that won't make
change my life.
Miserable and doomed to hell, and to drag everyone else there too. That's, well.
I felt something similar when I finally leaned into listening to you properly, because what was interesting, even after that moment in 2018, watching that 3-minute clip, deciding this man is evil, I want nothing to do with him ever again. And of course, I didn't think I would ever have anything to do with him.
Yeah, look what happened. Ha
Infiltrated.
Me,
yeah.
Right? People especially people that were not really connected to the digital world, a lot of older men in my life, for example, and women in my life would always tell me to read your book. It's honestly,
I haven't read it yet, but I should.
To me, Africa, you will really love this book. I would have friends of mine send me lectures. I think you're really going to like this. And I would just completely ignore it. And in my mind, I'd be thinking, what am I going to find? What am I supposed to like? Because again, I have this idea of you built up in my head. So I'm finding it very confusing that people that know me very well are telling me that there's something that I'm going to like, right?
Yeah, what the
very
hell?
Confusing. But again, for years, what the hell? For years, I ignored it. So when I started watching,
I had the same experience with the Bible, with Christianity as a whole, because I've been from a Christian family my whole life. I was born into a Christian family. My mom always takes us to church often, my dad as well, but I just used to go to church to please them. I didn't really care. I didn't really like it. But people kept telling me, go to church, reflect on the Bible, read it, pray to God. Like it was almost like it was noise, Yeah, it was like noise. So I had to, one day I just started, asking myself, why is everybody talking about this? What am I supposed to find in the Bible? Then I started reading, and boom, I'm here, a Christian by myself. My parents are not here with me, but I'm a strong Christian, I would say.
Your lectures late
I'd like to think.
last summer as well. In the beginning, I could notice myself listening to you and waiting for a moment where I could say, aha, see?
Right.
I knew I was right. And you know what? I waited.
I didn't get one.
That moment never came. That moment never came.
Happens to the best of us.
Right?
All the time.
Really. And that again, so it's like there wasn't one moment of being awake and then it's done. So many little, tiny, seemingly insignificant moments where I'm just sitting here by my sofa, just watching and listening, observing myself, waiting, for that confirmation that I'm right. And then it never coming. And then I have to deal with that. And then so again, my curiosity, I finally allowed myself to be curious again. And now
you can
Jordan,
learn.
I can say you have been one of the most influential people to me for so many reasons.
That's sweet.
I can't even mention right now.
That's sweet.
But to be able to have the conversations that I do now publicly, you have, and I could have never imagined this ever in my entire life. Things like this don't just happen. And
You're
the fact that I can tell you.
That's sweet. I said it, that's sweet.
Thank you.
You got him.
Yeah, you did. She hit where it hurts. Oh, well, it feels very good.
It's a rough pleasure. But
I know.
You knew what happened to me with Marvel Comics?
Yeah.
That was something. It's really something to see yourself portrayed. I got accused of being a Nazi pretty much when all this happened. It was really something because I had been teaching students what we're talking about today, about these temptations that you faced and how people, as individuals, get sucked into that totalitarian hell, and then, so that was something for that to happen, such a reversal, and then to have that comic book come out, well, it was surreal. It was absolutely surreal to be portrayed, because Nazi wasn't enough, right? We had to go right for the archetype itself. So I think we've raised about $400,000 for charity now on the basis of that. So that was a fun reversal. But it was really shocking when I first saw that. I just couldn't believe it. I was very ill at the time too. And I thought, this can't be real. This has to be Photoshop. This cannot possibly be happening. It's so completely beyond comprehension. And, to come from the pen of one of the foremost Black intellectuals. And I use the racial category only because that's the categories that he's using to operate within.
Yeah.
So
life is really weird.
This is true.
Right.
This is true. As this whole conversation illustrates.
Jordan Peterson. Maybe he's not a monster after all. Lots of people don't like the man. They think he's a monster. Like he just said, they portrayed him as a Nazi. He's really not. I feel like he's a good person. I feel like he has a good heart. For me, I like when people when they disagree with something, they openly speak about it. That way you can tell where their mind is at. Some people disagree and they don't speak about it, but then they react to it. And once they react to it, it becomes very, should I say violent, or they just take it out of context. And that's how some other people, like some people who say the people in the radical left, that's how they behave. But yeah, I like people who actually speak and express themselves and are willing to take arguments and debates so they can really show their points, learn from other people, and also get people to learn from them. Yeah, Jordan Peterson, maybe he's not a bad person after all. You guys should pay attention to him. You might just like him. Anyways, that's the end of this one. If you want us to bring more videos like this to the channel, let me know in the comment section. And if there's anything you want to add to what I said, or if you want to criticize me, in a good way, criticism. Criticize, is it a positive thing or a negative thing? Anyway, if there's something I said wrong and you would like to check me, please feel free to do so. I'm available to take all the corrections. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a wonderful day. Peace.